Okay. Whew. Alright, so let's do this. I've had a couple people message me complaining that they don't think their friends understand the difference between level 3 and level 4. A lot of people saying things like, hey, level 3 is coming up, let's hang out sometime. No. So I thought I'd make this really quickly to just help people understand the differences between level 4 and level 3. And to do that, I'm just going to point out the major differences with level 3. Because we've been in level 4 for a while now, I think we have that down. We just want to know what's changed. So I've made a list of those changes using the information from the COVID website and the information sent out by the government. That's also all attached in the description below, so by all means, double check everything that I say. That's really important that we remain clear. I'll start with the biggest change that affects most people, and that is that now your bubble can include family or caregivers within reason of distance. So don't try and add people that live miles and miles away. The exclusive addition of family or caregivers can now be implemented into your life under level 3. So that's a cool one that applies to everybody, nice and simple. We can add people so long as they don't live miles away, because we still want to restrict too much travel. Simple, nice one. Another thing that can happen under level 3 is people who are stuck on the wrong island can now travel back to where they live. So if you've been stuck in the South Island for the duration of the lockdown but you don't live there, the Inter-Islander and the Bluebird ferry will start running again, which means that you can travel home now. So people who are stuck on the wrong island, you can now go back. This also includes the relocation of businesses. So if you're relocating home or business, that can happen under level 3. And I believe moving companies are also able to work under level 3 as well. So you can get help to do that. Incidentally, this also means that under level 3, you're able to have contact with staff members for the sake of preparing a business to open during level 3 or preparing a business to move. These two situations are both permitted. Another thing that can start again is actually in-home services. So things like plumbing or electricians, these trades can start again within reason. So they have to make sure that the situation that they're working in is still safe and they're able to abide by the rules of staying 2 meters apart and working in a safe space, as well as making sure they're not traveling too far out of their own bubble. Same as meeting family members that you've added to your bubble. Clients or work that you have to attend should generally be within a 2K distance or as close to as possible. Here's one that I think a lot of people will be happy about, is that certain takeaway businesses / drive-through businesses will now be able to operate under level 3, so long as they're able to abide by the no contact rules set out. So things like KFC, I think, will be open. You'll have to double check that. But also your favorite takeaway coffee joints as well. So you can get takeaway coffee so long as everyone is able to implement the guidelines set out for social distancing. Here's one that I'm particularly excited about, and that is that the delivery of goods can resume under level 3. And the reason that's a cool thing is because it means that if you've ordered something online either prior to the lockdown or during the lockdown, it's most likely been stuck in Auckland or Wellington in some holding place waiting for level 3 to happen. So all of those things that have been in holding can now all be delivered. So if you ordered a bunch of things online during level 4, it's likely they will all arrive generally around about the same time in level 3. So couriers will most likely leave something outside of your door. You won't be asked to sign for anything, I don't think. And then you can come and collect your items once the courier is gone. Although at the same time, you should probably leave them outside for a little bit before collecting, unless it's raining. Here's one of the changes that's probably one of the more significant ones, and it means that gatherings for the sake of weddings, funerals, or tangihanga can happen so long as they are still kept within 10 people or less. Those people remain within social distancing guidelines, and there is no food or beverages served at the service. These are purely for ceremonial purposes only. Of course, hugging and kissing is out of the question unless those people are within your extended or current bubble. So still tough rules on that, but again, a big deal. That's good. Schooling is another thing. So under level 3, years 1 to 10 have the option to go back. And it is an option, it's not compulsory. And again, there are more rules around that in terms of how many kids can attend a class at a time. There will also be rules around distances and social distancing within the kids groups, but it's also understood that they are kids. I think a classroom is considered a controlled environment. So same like public transport or a workplace, social distancing rules of 2 meters comes down to 1 meter. So that makes it easier to work with, but also with kids, I assume that is still going to be, how do you implement that with year 1? You know what I mean? So again, that is up to your own discretion. If you're immune compromised as a teacher, or if your kid is immune compromised, it's still recommended that you or they stay home. So under level 3, immune compromised people are still basically under lockdown if you're immune compromised or if you're above a certain age. Another thing that is incredibly important to note is that access to emergency services or medical services are available at every level. So if you're feeling sick within your household, immediately isolate for sure. But if you need a doctor or if you need help, if you need the hospital, there are no restrictions at any level on you as an individual getting or receiving the medical help that you need. The processes might change, but no matter what, if you need medical help, seek it out, just like normal. This also goes for anybody who's living in a home that they don't feel safe in. So if you're in a situation where home isn't safe, places like Women's Refuge or services to help people in domestic violence situations are all still running. So if you need help in those areas, get it. And I'll attach information for how you can get that in the description below. By all means, do check that out if you need to. And lastly, I just wanted to run people through what the levels mean and when they're implemented. So, level 4, as we know, is lockdown. That is what that is called. And level 4 lockdown is implemented when it is likely that the disease is not contained. Level 3 is called restrict. And level 3 is implemented when there is a high risk that the disease is not contained. So this is likely not contained, and this is high risk that it is not contained. Level 2 is called reduce. And this is implemented when the disease is contained, but there is still a high risk of community transmission. So this is when there are possible household transmissions or single or isolated clusters that appear. That's level 2. So level 2 is reduce. Level 1 is prepare. And level 1 prepare simply means that New Zealand has the disease contained, but only in New Zealand. So this is a situation where household transmissions might still occur, but the disease overall in the country is contained and managed. But level 1 also means a situation where overseas, COVID isn't contained. And that's going to be an issue that might be with us for a while, because in terms of New Zealand being able to open its borders, that is totally reliant on the rest of the world, as opposed to us right now who are at the forefront of possibly and being able to consider the idea of eradicating COVID-19. Regardless of how well we do here, it doesn't really have anything to do with whether or not we can open our borders again. That side of things is really up to how the rest of the world does. Because if we open our borders too soon, somebody from a country who doesn't have it under control might arrive here, and then boom, we've spiked back up to level 4. So level 1 being called prepare, I'm sure means prepare for it to be gone, but also means maybe prepare for the long haul. I'm not an expert, I'm just a guy who read the email from the experts, but I would say that it would probably be smart for one to prepare for a world with COVID-19 in it, because it doesn't look like something that we're going to get rid of very fast. And that's just something we'll deal with when we come to it. We've dealt with it quite well so far. We've adapted. And because of our willingness and desire to work together, we're now able to move to level 3. So hey, day 28, you're doing well, we're doing well, and I'm gonna leave you with this clip of Simon Bridges making a fool of himself because it makes me laugh. Go and follow Amy on Twitter. I believe her handle is @Kiwi_things. So Kiwi_things. She made this, it's hilarious. Have a laugh, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
In addition to that, my worry is that a further week is a case of the medicine potentially being worse than the cure. My worry is that the medicine is worse than the cure. And is the medicine worse than the cure?
My worry is, as I said on the day, that the medicine is worse than the cure.
The medicine is worse than the cure. That doesn't actually make sense.
I would push my luck here, Kevin, but again, you sort of asked for it. If Netflix is your major competitor, why the hell are we funding you?
Well, I don't believe that you are, Simon.
Why don't we just, sure, but okay. So
you are funding me?
Well, we're not. You're right. At the moment, technically, we're not.